A state prison in Kentucky is having surprising success with a program that introduces inmates to the works of one of the world's greatest playwrights. Our Laurie Hibberd has details. Laurie, good morning to you.
Good morning, Russ. They call themselves Shakespeare Behind Bars, an acting troupe unlike any that has ever tackled the words of the bard. This is the Luckett Correctional Complex in LaGrange, Kentucky, a state prison where 40% of the inmates have committed violent crimes and where the average sentence is 15 years. Not the kind of place where you'd expect to hear this.
Come hither, spirit. Set Caliban and his companions free. Untie the spell.
These prisoners are members of a Shakespearean acting company.
And we choose William Shakespeare because he understood the human condition better than any writer that I've ever come in contact with.
Right, you don't know where you're being brought until he rounds the corner.
Theater director Kurt Tofflin started the program because he believed the words of the bard are particularly relevant here.
These three have robbed me, and this demi-devil had plotted with them to take my life.
I can find situations that exist that parallel inmates' lives. And I've had an inmate who's committed murder play a murderer in a Shakespearean play to examine the road that leads that character to commit murder. And in examining that road, they examine their own road.
They are merciful. I have cursed them without cause.
Tofflin started the program 8 years ago, and he soon discovered that the inmates have a special feel for the moral questions inherent in Shakespeare's works, and performing these plays can be a life-changing experience.
Burned but his books, for he has brave utensils, for so he calls them. Which when he has
Jerry Guntner is serving a life sentence for killing a police officer. He says the program has caused him to re-examine his life.
There's a line in Hamlet that says to hold his twirl mirror up to nature. And I think that is what we do by playing these characters. We hold the mirror up to ourselves, and in dealing with those issues, we become better people through doing these plays.
I'm afraid he will chastise me.
You see hardened convicts, all of a sudden they'll be, in the middle of a scene and just have almost a nervous breakdown crying. And it takes courage to do that. That's very difficult to have to face that again, to have to deal with what you did.
After months of hard work, this production of The Tempest is ready to be seen by an audience made up of fellow inmates. The lead role of Prospero is played by Hal Cobb, one of the founding members of the company.
This is the one role that I really wanted to do because it's about forgiveness.
I do forgive thy rankest fault.
And I pretty much feel like one of the unforgiven. I killed my wife nearly 20 years ago, and it hurt my daughter, and I haven't been forgiven, and it's something that I really long for.
And the best comforter to an unsettled fancy, cure thy brains now you...
Among the most forgiving, according to the actors, is their director, Kurt Tofflin.
Here's a man that comes into a prison full of undesirables and says, I embrace you just as you are, and let's start from right here at this point in your life and work to be better.
What do you think the inmates get out of this?
Success. Some of the most powerful moments are when the guys, for the first time in their life, complete something.
I love thee.
And it's a lot about what the program is about, too. It is the belief that human beings are redeemable, even human beings who've committed heinous crimes against humanity, that there is a value in their life.
I'll rack thee with old cramps.
The program is so popular that an inmate once declined being paroled because he didn't want to miss being in one of the productions.
That's very interesting. Laurie, are there any statistics that show that a prisoner who participates in this program is less likely to return to prison after being released?
They actually have a 100% success rate. Anybody who's ever been in their program has never come back because they've committed another crime. Once because of parole violation, but not because they committed another crime.
Fascinating. Laurie Hibberd, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. This is The Early Show on CBS.